YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Donald Trump's right-hand man, Sam Altman, you might remember seeing him on Inauguration Day standing next to Donald Trump along with Larry Ellison, as immediately upon being selected and put into office, Donald Trump passed that $500 billion bill for AI infrastructure, which is another word for AI governance and all those data centers to be built out. And Sam Altman is one of these psychopaths who is openly talking about technology that would have the capability of reading human brains, brain-computer interfaces where we are headed. This is DARPA technology being sold to you as if it's some type of benefit for you. And I don't know how they think they're going to sell people on allowing big tech companies to read your brain using sound waves. But believe it or not, we live in a world now where people are so easily duped, just like we saw in 2021 when so many people ran and poisoned themselves, when so many people who are still walking around wearing masks were duped and continue to be. So at this point, nothing should actually surprise us. And Sam Altman's biometric startup is being rolled out, just like Neuralink, just like Synchron, which is another one of these corporations that's funded by Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates that plans on entering your mind. And these are silent weapons for quiet wars. And people need to be aware that when we talk about silent weapons for quiet wars, we are talking about frequency weapons, and electromagnetic waves that are being used on us. It's being used in many different ways. And remember, the Bible tells us in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2, where in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. They are using the air to wage war on God's creation, humanity. And the air, the prince of the power of the air, is none other than Lucifer himself. So Altman's company is going to be called Merge, and the startup's name is a reference to the popular idea in the tech sector, which describes a, quote, hypothetical point when humans and machines merge together as one. And that quote is directly from Sam Altman, man and machine becoming one. And we know that other big tech psychopaths, like I mentioned earlier, Bezos, Gates with Synchron, Elon Musk is another one. And this is how he's marketing it to people out there. We know that he's curing diseases. He's curing Parkinson's. He's helping people who are disabled, which gets society to allow these people to put this type of technology into our world where they can put chips inside of people's brains. They're not making it mandatory yet. But of course, eventually, when they tell you that, well, you're going to need a phone to survive, which is what they're already telling you because you're going to need to have a digital ID to be a part of society. And then when they tell you, like they've been telling you, that the phone is obsolete, this type of technology will be underneath your skin. And Elon Musk makes this big Neuralink prediction. This is a recent article that recipients can ultimately beat all human beings. At what, you ask? Well, he says Nolan might be the first to receive a Neuralink upgrade or dual Neuralink implant to further augment his abilities. And Nolan is one of the people who supposedly has the Neuralink in him, that they're marketing him through, like they're putting him out there saying, look, it's cured this. He's a new man. His life is wonderful. He was so depressed and miserable. Now he has a reason to live. And he said it won't be long before a Neuralink recipient can beat most and eventually all humans at fast reaction video games. So While people like me and you say, huh? Who would actually care about that? Well, that'll be an easy way to market it to young teenagers, right? And then, of course, they'll market it to adults and say, look, you could make more money because AI is taking humans' jobs. But what's better than AI could be a human who has AI inside of them, who has technology inside of them, who has a machine inside of them. That could be even bigger. And that's, of course, when we start talking more about super artificial intelligence. But a world where we allow these people inside of our minds as a world that they lust for. These people, again, they don't live and lust for money. They print it. What they want is control. And it's so sick of how much control they want that it looks a lot like what I'll play for you and I have in the past from Davos, where they talk about how this is beneficial to you, that we could have access to everything going on inside of your mind, and it's beneficial to you, your brain metrics. Give us access to your mind. And oh, by the way, if there's any naughty thoughts in there, you'll be disciplined, of course. This is what they were promoting at Davos a couple of years ago.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nicholas Thompson. I'm the CEO of The Atlantic, and I will be your moderator today. We are going to have an incredible session. Star of the show is Nita Farahany. She is a futurist and legal ethicist at Duke, and she's so smart and so interesting. You're going to learn a ton. This is how it's going to work. We're going to watch a short video. She's going to come on stage and talk, and then we're going to do a little Q&A, questions from the audience, and that'll be a wrap, and you'll leave enlightened and excited. So first off, a video. It's going to make you see the future and understand a wonderful future where we can use brainwaves to fight crime, be more productive, and find love. Let's roll.
You're in the zone. Even you can't believe how productive you've been. Your memo is finished, your inbox is under control, and you're feeling sharper than you have in a decade. Sensing your joy, your playlist shifts to your favorite song, sending chills up your spine as the music begins to play. You glance at the program running in the background on your computer screen and notice a now familiar sight that appears whenever you're overloaded with pleasure. Your theta brainwave activity decreasing in the temporal regions of your brain. You mentally move the cursor to the left and scroll through your brain data over the past few hours. You can see your stress levels rising as the deadline to finish your memo approached, causing a peak in your beta brainwave activity right before an alert popped up, telling you to take a brain break. But what's that unusual change in your brain activity when you're asleep? It started earlier in the month. You send a text message to your doctor with a mental swipe of your cursor. Could you take a quick look at my brain data? Anything to worry about? Your mind starts to wander to the new colleague on your team, whom you know you shouldn't be daydreaming about, given the policy against intra-office romance. But you can't help fantasizing just a little. But then you start to worry that your boss will notice your amorous feelings when she checks your brain activity and shift your attention back to the present. You breathe a sigh of relief when the email she sends you later that day congratulates you on your brain metrics from the past quarter, which have earned you another performance bonus. You head home jamming to the music, with your work-issued brain-sensing earbuds still in. When you arrive at work the next day, a somber cloud has fallen over the office. Along with emails, text messages, and GPS location data, the government has subpoenaed employees' brainwave data from the past year. They have compelling evidence that one of your coworkers has committed massive wire fraud. Now, they're looking for his co-conspirators. You discover they are looking for synchronized brain activity between your coworker and the people he has been working with. While you know you're innocent of any crime, you've been secretly working with him on a new startup venture. Shaking, you remove your earbuds.
What do you think? Is it a future you're ready for? You may be surprised to learn that it's a future that has already arrived. Everything in that video that you just saw is based on technology that is already here today. Artificial intelligence has enabled advances in decoding brain activity in ways that we never before thought possible. You've heard a lot about AI over the past few years. Here at Davos, It's been the talk of the hour. But I want to talk about it in a different way, which is the ability to decode brainwave activity. After all, what you think, what you feel, it's all just data. Data that in large patterns can be decoded using artificial intelligence. Consider this. The average person thinks thousands of thoughts each day. As a thought takes form, like a math calculation, you're happy, you're tired, you're hungry, you're elated. Neurons are firing in your brain, emitting tiny electrical discharges. As a particular thought takes form, hundreds of thousands of neurons fire in characteristic patterns that can be decoded with EEG, or electroencephalography, and AI-powered devices. In fact, what you're seeing here is my brain activity while I'm wearing a simple device like the one on the right. We're not talking about implanted devices of the future. I'm talking about wearable devices that are like Fitbits for your brain.
Right? Oh, it's beneficial to you. A brain break is required. You see, they're monitoring your brain and they can tell that you're stressed. So then they can tell you, hey, take a break, right? But then when you start fantasizing about your coworker, they'll come over and they'll taser you, right? Because you can't be fantasizing about your coworker, especially in a world where people aren't going to be in relationships with other human beings anymore. They're going to be in relationships with, well, artificial intelligence or, things that they create online because they don't want anybody procreating, right? And you might be saying, well, what does a world look like? How would they be able to control our minds through frequencies? Well, I'll play for you the clip. And you could think to yourself about this from Stretch Armstrong, about the smart mark. And remember how this can relate to those towers that are all up around us that are causing depression, that are causing people to get ill, right? Breaking down people's immune systems, those 5G towers. This is from Stretch Armstrong, the smart mark. You tell me if this looks a lot like what they're talking about here with using brainwaves to control your mind and, of course, having technology underneath your skin.
Charter City is stunned by the sudden rollout of Rook Unlimited's most fantastic device ever. The Smart Mark. Throw your other devices away, because the Smart Mark is more than just a phone. It's part of you. Use it as cash. Book your travel. And even shoot video. Distribution points are all over the city. And don't let the lines discourage you. The Rook Unlimited Smart Mark is worth the wait.
I never realized how wonderful technology could make me feel. The Smart Mark has brought order to my life.
And the best part? It's absolutely free. A gift of thanks to our city from Rook Unlimited.
23% of the population has been given the Smart Mark, number 1.
Time to test our system, number 6. The Flex Fighters are out there somewhere. Teaming up with Jonathan Rook, let's put our new recruits to work, subtly.
We should find the Flex Fighters.
I ought to find the Flex Fighters.
We should find the Flex Fighters. We should find the Flex Fighters.
Growing up in this city, the streets of Old Town, I saw the worst mankind had to offer. Chaos, disorder. I vowed to make it all change. To make it all better. All these years working in secret. Rising up the ranks of the tech men. It was all leading to this day. Order has finally been established in Charter City. No child will have to fear for their safety again.
The people owe you the greatest of debts, number 1, for liberating them from the chaos of their lives.
They seem to be establishing checkpoints of some kind. This is how they keep order.
This is the nightmare I warned you about. People think smart marks are brand new Rook tech that will improve their lives. They don't know they're being tricked.
All smart marks so far. But your chip makes it possible to control everyone in Charter City, whether they're marked or not.
And of course, that's the smart mark, which is code word really for the mark of the beast. That's why they called it the smart mark. And it goes deeper than that because we know they already have the ability to do these things to people's minds. DARPA has announced and talked about how they have this ability, but they have more than just that because we know the U.S. military makes lasers that can create voices out of thin air, right? Silent sound, subliminal mind control, where they could actually make you hear things in your mind. It's called voice-to-skull technology. And they use this on targeted individuals. They use this on people that are pre-programmed to carry out horrific acts, which we look at as false flag acts when we see some of these people who just get triggered and go actually shoot up a building or shoot up a school. We're not talking about PSYOP events. We're talking about actual false flag events where you see that something's wrong with this guy and he went and carried it out, and we call them Manchurian candidates, right? Well, a lot of them are programmed through voice-to-skull technology using frequencies. Your government has patents on all of this. Why else would your government patent this type of technology if they weren't planning on using it against us? Voice to skull, or as some people call it, the voice of God technology. This is what it looks like.
Voice-to-skull technology. This is also in the foray of directed energy weapons. Ability to, let's just say, throw your voice into your head or my voice into my head, or allowing algorithms that now they can blanket a whole geographical area and they can make everybody change their thoughts. The Department of Defense recently started initiating protocols for their employees, their agents, to discuss Havana syndrome-like symptoms. And on that list is that their agents are hearing voices in their head.
Pentagon scientists have finished testing on an early weapon that can make laser plasma balls talk.
Stop, or we will be forced to fire upon you.
It's called the laser-induced plasma effect, and it's made by the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Directorate. So what they've done is basically created a laser that can shoot out to a certain distance, and they can pipe in sound waves through it, and actually make human voice sounds and commands.
Stop, or we will be forced to fire upon you.
Now where this becomes useful is around an area where we want to keep a perimeter secure. So essentially you can shoot out this laser, you can then talk to the people on the edge of the perimeter rather than sending troops out there and tell them to get away, or you're going to shoot, or get away, or they're going to use other means to deter them. And that same laser can be used to actually target the individual and create heat through pinpricks, like microscopic pinpricks in their skin, even beneath clothing. It's extremely uncomfortable and people move out of the way almost immediately. At the same time, the exact same laser is also being used as kind of a never-ending flashbang grenade. It can basically, with a power source, it can constantly create audible effects to deter and confuse and disorient people, just like a flashbang grenade that you would have in your kit, but would only be able to flash once, maybe twice, depending on the design.
So we can't hear this. It's going. I haven't turned it on yet. When I do, it's going to blast out a 65 kilohertz beam. Because the wavelength is so small, it doesn't spread. Because 65 kilohertz has a wavelength like that. So it's going to be, in that sense, similar to a laser. It just comes right out as a beam. Now, how do we make that audible? Well, they put a modulation on top of the 65 kilohertz. There's a modulation. And now, here's the next thing I have to tell you. That 65 kilohertz is very high amplitude. It won't hurt you, we don't think. Okay? You certainly can't hear it, and we don't think it'll hurt you. And it's very high amplitude. And what happens when you have two sound waves like this, sound plus sound can create sound, but only at high amplitudes. At low amplitude, sound waves just travel right through each other. You may be sort of familiar with this. But at high amplitude, you can create sound. So what happens in this apparatus is the audio sound, the sound that you're going to hear, is actually created in the beam, not here. And because it's created in the beam and it stays in the beam, we have a beam of sound. So let me demonstrate this for you. Let me turn it on. And I'm going to find the piece of music that we like. Yeah. You may not like it. The Eagles? You like the Eagles? Yes. Okay, good. Oh, we have a friendly audience this year. Yeah. I think they're just saying that to make us feel better. Right. All right. It's worth the $2,000. It's not our money. Now, the sound that you're hearing is being created in this beam. It almost sounds like it's coming from your head. So let me try to scan the whole audience here so everybody gets to hear this. Absolutely remarkable. Pete, are you getting it? off the wall. Raise your hand if you can very clearly hear it. I'm going to try to bounce it off the wall. Look at where the hands are raised.
Silent weapons for quiet wars. You see, these are things that people are told don't actually exist, but they're constantly using frequencies against us, which was one of the reasons that those towers were so important. Now think about all the other frequencies, those electromagnetic frequencies that come out of devices inside of our homes. Silent weapons for quiet wars. In fact, we could even look at frequencies that are used in music against us. People hear music and they don't realize that there's actually frequencies in music that can affect your mood, affect your behavior. In fact, they've been testing out such high frequencies recently over the last couple of years, and they've noticed that nobody's even blinking about it because barely anyone has said anything other than people such as myself when people go to Taylor Swift concerts and they report amnesia following the event because of the types of frequencies that are being used. But everybody brushes it off because they say they have amnesia because they were so excited to be at the Taylor Swift concert that they can't even remember being there. No, that's not what's happening. What's happening is they're using frequencies that should be outlawed against human beings. And it's causing people to suffer from things like amnesia. Or in fact, it's causing people to faint at concerts. It's causing things like we saw at the Travis Scott concert at Astroworld, where we know those frequencies were used along with the people who had a lot of graphene oxide inside of their bodies and caused them to have seizures in the crowd, right? Frequencies, folks, they're used in music as well.
Programming. Music is frequency. What frequency are you being fed? If I play with those frequencies, right, I can target certain parts of the mind, target the frequency to go to certain parts of the mind, and I can literally, if I want you to astral project, or if I want you to go to sleep, or if I want you to go into a meditative state, I can make my music do that.
The brain processes information electrically. It communicates with the cellular structure electrically, and it operates within a certain band of frequency. If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology has long been known, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information, the brain will decode those frequencies and will have those perceptions. You can externally influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with because we are antenna.
The sad reality is that where we now play our music is in A440. Where did that come from? It used to be 417. A440 came in with the Roman Catholic Church. They suppressed the frequencies. They lost somehow the 152 of the best Gregorian chants, including the hymn to St. John the Baptist, which we've now recovered. That particular hymn was what triggered Dr. Palaio's investigation, looking for those frequencies of vibration by which the music was played. It was known as the most uplifting hymn of all the ages, the most spiritually uplifting hymn. Hymn to St. John the Baptist. It was played to 6 tones. These are those 6 tones. These are those 6 frequencies. And so the A440 is what now is the standard tuning. If you go A439, you're closer to one of the Creator's tones. If you go A441, you're closer to one of the Creator's original tones. That's how precisely it has been manipulated. To do what? To shut down the 95% of your brain, particularly the right brain that operates the heart-mind for the divine human community.
Some decades ago, there was a guy who worked out the frequencies of different emotional states. This is long ago. I mean, it's very, very sophisticated now. So every thought, every emotional response is a frequency. It generates a frequency, and it is of itself a frequency. Hate is a frequency, and it's different to love. You know, when you are in a room and there's lots of aggression and conflict and hatred, you feel it. What do people say? Oh God, you can cut the atmosphere with a knife in there. That is because the frequencies of hate and conflict have been so generated, they have changed the electromagnetic field of the room.
When you go driving your car and your channel on the radio is tuned to a station and you're grooving to the music. You love that music. As you get farther and farther away from the broadcasting tower, that music gets static. You start to lose the signal from the clear channel, broadcast, and it gets staticky. When it gets staticky, you get a little annoyed. But you want to listen to it. You really have a heart for that music, so you continue to listen to it for another 10, 15 miles, and suddenly it becomes so annoying that you just get disgusted, you go, ah, and you shut it off. And if you continue to listen to it, you get sick. That's what we're talking about here. Except you don't even know that you've been listening to the static your whole life. You don't even know what the true resonant frequency is because it has been kept.
Now, of course, to really be effective, we need to use the proper words and phrases, scientifically selected. But that gives you the basic idea. We embed messages just below the threshold of perception, so they can go directly into the subconscious.
They can play across a community these frequencies without anyone knowing, and it starts to have an effect, and it starts to build rage, it starts to build anger, and people might not realize why they're feeling it, but they start to feel it. And then what they do is they trigger that with an event. Maybe some guy is attacked by the police or something, or somebody's arrested for something they didn't commit, and now there's the trigger. The blue touch paper has been lit of this manufactured frequency-driven rage, and you have mass riots and what have you, and people do things that they wouldn't normally do.
So in other words, the master composer, master conductor of the Universal Orchestra is singing love songs in 5/8, uplifting everything simultaneously. And we're the only species out of tune and accepting static for the clear channel.
Do you know that the American military, they've admitted this. They have technology that fires frequencies at the enemy that basically breaks the enemy's spirit, so they give up and put their weapons down. This is the technology we're dealing with.
So frequencies. This is something that we all, and we wish, I'm sure, that our government is actually working for us. And this was something that our government paid attention to and talked about for our benefit, about how frequencies are being used on us, but they don't want you to know the frequencies are even a thing. And when somebody brings up frequencies, they say, well, there are rules and regulations in regards to frequencies and what they can and cannot use. And scientists and nobody, this is what they love to tell us, there's no proof yet that 5G frequencies are dangerous to you. Yet let's roll out 6G, right? There's no proof that kids are getting cancer from vaccines and all these other things at such a high rate. Oh, that's all conspiracy mumbo jumbo, right? Everybody's just sick. Everybody's just dying. Everybody's just depressed. They are using frequencies on us in every way they possibly can, through music, through 5G towers, and now they want to come out and tell you that, look, we want to know what's on your mind. And we could all look at it and say, well, that'll never happen. But they could deceive these people into anything. They already have. If they start convincing a world of narcissists, because remember, we live in a world filled with narcissists. They've created this, where people take pictures of everything they do and post them online, and they pose, they spend their whole day thinking about what's a good photo op for me to put on my social media account, right? Ooh, this looks like a good picture. Hold, let me take 10 pictures. I'll pick the best picture. I'll put up on. I'll spend an hour doing this, right? A world of narcissists they have created. And if they tell them that through this technology, these brainwave technology and brain-computer interfaces, that it can make them an even more perfect human being, you don't think that these narcissists will want to be on board with that? That they wouldn't say, what can make me more perfect? It can make you smarter and make you less tired. In fact, we'll monitor your brain and we'll tell you how you could be a better person. We'll tell you when you need to take breaks for your breaks for yourself because your brain is just so exhausted, like we saw in that clip from Davos. We could look at that and say, that's completely insane. No one will fall for it. But if you think about some of these psychopaths and these social influencers who are going to push this onto their audience, they will be on board. And you could read comment sections under videos about brain-computer interface and how brain waves will be able to read minds and control minds. And people are on board with it because they think it's going to be beneficial to them. And we have these psychopaths who are out there talking about, we want to read your mind. And none of the people push back and say, who is giving any of these people authority to even create this type of tech? But of course, as we all know, it's not being created by Sam Altman. It's not being created by Elon Musk. It's not being created by Bezos and Gates at Synchron. This is DARPA technology that they are using, and they're getting you to willingly participate by putting brand names on it and telling you to go buy these products, bring them into your home, and use them on yourself. That's the American experiment, ladies and gentlemen. A country under hypnosis, under full-on mind control, being sold their own enslavement. So Sam Altman funding a biomedical startup to read human brains using sound waves, and nobody's put handcuffs on him yet, and nobody's put handcuffs on Elon Musk for these things that you would say, who's given you the authority to do these things? This is, Frankenstein-like technology. Who is giving you well, they're entrepreneurs, don't you know? They're smarter than you are. They're thinking outside the box. They're thinking of this for beneficial ways, not psychotic ways. But if I told you that some psychopath in prison, like let's say Jeffrey Dahmer was still alive, was creating this type of technology and wanted to use it, people out there would be outraged. They'd be showing up at the courthouse. They'd be going, how dare you even allow some psychopath to have this tech? But these people are presented to us as entrepreneurs, philanthropists, people who know more than we do, the technocrats, right? Just like technocracy says. People who know what's the best for everyone else, scientists, put all these fancy labels on it, and it gives them the authority to go out and create this tech, or at least sell us this tech, which was really created by your own government and DARPA. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. Share this video. Hopefully it helps others out there realize that frequencies are silent weapons used for quiet wars. And the quiet war is a war on you and your mind. I thank everyone again for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you and your families as always.